Good morning. 2 more days to Thanksgiving. Say hi in the comments. Let me know that you're on here. Hi, Sherry. Hi, Tamo. Hi, Sarah. Let me know where you're tuning in from. If this is your first time, definitely let me know where you're tuning in from so you can get a shout out. For those of you who are just tuning in for the first time, my name is Aisha Chidole. I'm an immigration attorney. I represent clients in all 50 United States with their family immigration matter. My phone number here is 407 You can also send us a message on WhatsApp, 404-333-8751. Sarah says, good morning. It's 6:34 a.m. in Spokane. I'm going back to bed. Yes, go back to bed. It is super early. Hi, Jamie on YouTube. Thank you for tuning in. Hi, Facebook. Hi, YouTube. Hi, Instagram. Okay, so today, how is everyone getting ready for Thanksgiving, by the way? I look forward to Thanksgiving, but at the same time, I don't look forward to eating all that food, but very excited. And just quick housekeeping. Good morning, Novelette from New York. Good morning, MK Cash Money from New York, right? I think you're from New York as well. What was I saying? Just quick housekeeping. Our office is going to be closed on Thursday and Friday, obviously, to observe Thanksgiving. So, if you're an existing client and you don't hear from us or you need to contact us, most likely we won't be able to get back to you till Monday next week for any reason and stuff like that. Hi, Sonia. Hi, Banade. Good morning, my beloved sister. Good morning. Good morning, Krishna, from Poughkeepsie, New York. Oh my goodness. I got to tell you guys a story about Poughkeepsie, New York. That was the actual first when I moved to the United States. I used to work at a gas station in Poughkeepsie, New York called Stewart. And I will always remember that because that was my very first job ever. Good morning, Sherry. Okay, guys. So today I want to talk about what does a prima facie determination letter mean. Hi, Dennis. Congratulations on your wedding. I saw the beautiful pictures. I've actually been getting a lot of that, and it's funny because as I typed the title, somebody actually sent me a message saying, "Well, what does a prima facie determination letter mean?" So we're going to talk about that because I'm sure you guys saw that I posted a bunch of prima facie determination letters yesterday. So let's start with what gives you a prima facie determination letter. Typically, when you submit a petition to USCIS saying that your spouse has been abusive to you, or your parent has been abusive to you, or your child has been abusive to you, and that you're requesting a green card on the basis of that abuse, what happens is that you have to meet certain requirements. And if you meet certain requirements, USCIS is going to give you what we call a prima facie determination letter. So let's start with what the letter is first and what those requirements are. A prima facie determination letter, think about it this way. It is a pre-qualified approval. Think about like when you're going to go get a mortgage and you get like a pre-qualified or pre-approval, but then you have to add all this extra things to then show that you actually can financially take care of the mortgage. That's what a prima facie determination letter is. It means that technically you've submitted enough evidence to be approved as a VAWA applicant. So it's not a guarantee of approval, but it is a good sign that you have met the minimum requirements to be approved. And so typically what will happen is that they will give you this document for a year. And in 60 days before expiration, they will renew that document for 6 months increments and will continue to renew it until they make an approval or a decision on your case. Okay, and I can see your questions. I'm going to get into you guys' questions in a bit, so feel free to ask your questions in the comments. I will get to them. And typically, what the prima facie offers you is one, if you have any children that are under 21, they will be listed as prima facie beneficiaries just like you. So what that means is that if you get approved for your VAWA case, so will your children. It's different if you have children in America or if your children are outside of America. The process for them to finalize their own green card application, because there's still certain steps that they need to take after an actual VAWA approval. If you're in America, most of the time, and you qualify for an adjustment of status, we will submit your VAWA application with your adjustment of status, so that once you get a VAWA approved, then you can get your green card approved. Okay. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that for a lot of states, it will allow you to get public assistance should you need that. This is very state specific. So if you ask me a question, well, what benefits? I can't tell you, because I don't have in memory all 50 states and what all 50 states will offer you. So usually you would have to look at the public benefits office of the state you're in and see what is listed there if you need it. For some states, it's things like, food stamp assistance with living, and things of that nature. And then it also allows you to get federal aid for school if you want to go to school. Now, this has to obviously be renewed. So it will give you federal aid for just 1 year. And then, as your stuff continues to get renewed, automatically, it will give you that. The final thing is that in some states, it will allow you to get a driver's license if you have not received your work permit yet, and if you have not, and if you don't have a driver's license, you can get your driver's license. The prima facie tends to come before the work permit. So that's why it's good, because then you can at least, drive around, especially if you're someone that needs to drive around. So those are some of the benefits of getting the prima facie approval. But the biggest and the most important benefits is that USCIS is saying basically that based on what you've submitted, you have submitted enough evidence that we can pre-qualify you for an approval. Again, let me repeat so that you guys don't change my words. It is not a guarantee that you'll be approved. It is a pre-qualification that you've met the bare minimum. So now let's talk about the bare minimum requirement. Bare minimum requirements. If you're filing on the basis of marriage, you got to prove that you have an actual marriage, like a real marriage, meaning you are legally free to marry. That's number one. Number two, you have to prove that you have a bona fide marriage. People get confused a lot of times about what a bona fide is, and they will say, "Oh, I have my marriage certificate." Your marriage certificate does not mean that you have a bona fide marriage. Your marriage certificate means that you have a legal marriage under the law, but it doesn't mean that the marriage is legitimate. Does that make sense? It doesn't mean that the marriage is real. Bona fide marriage means that you're trying to prove that your marriage is in fact real. Okay? The next thing is you have to show that so it's bona fide and good faith. You got to show bona fide and good faith. The next thing you have to show is proof of extreme cruelty or battery by your spouse. The next thing you have to show is cohabitation. Cohabitation means that you and your spouse live together. So it doesn't matter how long, but you have to show cohabitation. And then the last thing is that you have to show good moral character. Good moral character means that, you don't have any, in the last 3 years, you don't have any crimes of moral turpitude or anything that they consider lack of good moral character. So even though it's 3 years, sometimes they will go back depending on what has happened in your past. They may choose to go back. So we always want to make sure that we have enough evidence to show that you're a good person and you're a person of good moral character. I feel like I might be missing something, but that's the general gist of it. If you're a child, obviously they're not concerned about certain things as they would be with marriage. Like, you're not obviously proving that you have a bona fide a legal marriage, because you're not married, as long as you can prove that that's your parent, or your parent entered this relationship with your with your own, like your step parent and parent relationship. And same thing for parents, if you can prove that your child is doing this to you, you're a person of good moral character and you lived at some point with your child. These are all things that could qualify you to get a prima facie letter. So I see some questions. Somebody is asking, Aziz says, what is the importance of the prima facie? I just told you. So Aziz, you must have just tuned in. When I get off live, rewind this video and watch it because that's what I just talked about. So Alma says on Facebook, what about if you're not given a prima facie letter? If you're not given a prima facie letter, it's not a good sign. I'm not going to lie. It's not a good sign. You should get a prima facie letter in order for you to be approved. If you don't get a prima facie letter, basically they're saying that your case doesn't meet the minimum requirements to be approved for a valid case. And what you might likely get is a request for additional evidence or something else that maybe once you satisfy it, you'll get a prima facie letter. But, you should be getting one, to even have any skin in the game. Okay. Hi, Brazen Lawyer. Happy Thanksgiving. Somebody says, PD says, how long will someone get a prima facie letter after filing for VAWA? Honestly, the answer really depends. Sometimes in my, and I will only speak about my practice because I can't tell you what USCIS politics are or policies are or what they do for different clients or different lawyers. I will only tell you my practice. Most people get their prima facie within 12 weeks, within 3 months of submission. Now, if there are people recently, actually yesterday, let me talk about I posted 7 prima facies yesterday. And of those 7 prima facies, there were 2 people that USCIS had issued their prima facie letters since June, which is like 5 months ago, and USCIS never sent their letters. And we just got it. So in saying that, I say to say that it's technically 3 months to 6 months is when most of my own clients get it. I cannot speak for any other lawyer. That's when my own clients get it. However, if you don't get it, then do not start panicking. Maybe they just need to request additional evidence. And once you provide the additional evidence, you will get it, but it is very important. Okay, let's see what other questions I have here. Somebody says, so if we receive a prima facie determination letter, we're close to approval. Timeline-wise, not necessarily, but in terms of are the odds in your favor of approval, the odds are in your favor, but it's not a guarantee. Nothing in life is a guarantee. They might decide, okay, oops, there's something else we're looking for. Oops, there's something else we need to see. But odds are in your favor if you get one, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're close to approval. And the reason why I say it is because, I just said to you that, prima facie take about 3 to 6 months. And most valid cases are taking like 2 years to 3 years for approval, which is also why they're given 2-year work permits and 2-year travel permits because, they don't want people to have to keep renewing this stuff because, it's taken a long time. So at least while, that is processing, people can work, people can travel and, go about their lives. Okay. So let me see some other questions. So I filed for VAWA. My PD is June 5th, 2021. I got my prima facie and I did my bio September 10th. My question is, what does it mean when case shows final action date current and date filing current? I don't understand your question. Are you talking about the visa bulletin or are you talking about your VAWA case? Because those are 2 different things. Brendan says, how long do I have to wait for a decision after submitting an RFE? You have to wait as long as the USCIS officer reviewing your case takes. There's absolutely no timeline that myself or any lawyer can give you. It's going to depend on when you received your RFE. It's going to depend on what kind of RFE you received. If it's just a procedural RFE, it's going to continue the same process. Like, for example, like if you get an RFE because you're I-864, the person that's sponsoring you doesn't qualify, you're still going to go, and you might have gotten the RFE in like month 4, you're still going to probably go through the normal 12-month timeline, pending the setback of you getting the RFE, because that pushes it back a little bit. Basically, every time you get an RFE, especially if it's for something that is not minor, it will delay your case. It will delay your case. So, you always want to make sure that you are going with a lawyer who is qualified to do this and does this on a daily basis to reduce that, and to reduce potential for denial. Okay, so yeah, you're talking about the visa bulletin. So the visa bulletin is different from VAWA cases. So those are two different subjects. I don't want to confuse my audience. The visa bulletin has to do with if you are submitting an application based on you being in a non immediate family relative class, you're in a family preference class, you have to wait for your visa to be active, or for your visa to be current, in order for you to be eligible for a green card. It's visa, but the word is really green card. It's the same thing. Okay. So Mood and Star says, I filed I-360 and 485 together in November of 2018. And how long do I have to wait for an interview for my green card? Well, the first question, Mood and Star, is that have you been approved for your VAWA case, or your decision is still pending? So you can answer that question. Maybe you answered it. I just don't see it here. Let's see. So Sit Sofe says, can a man file for VAWA when he wasn't married legally? They only did traditional marriage. So the answer will depend on the country you're from. So USCIS works with what we call a reciprocity calendar. So what that means is that here in the United States, in order for you to be considered legally married in the United States, if you live in the United States, you have to have a legal wedding that is registered with your state court, right? Your court. However, there are other countries that have different marriage requirements, meaning that they will be considered a legal marriage based on certain things. I'm going to pick 2 countries and use them as an example. So, for example, in Jamaica, if you cohabitate with your spouse, in Jamaica, you may have what is considered a common law marriage in Jamaica, but for USCIS and immigration purposes, it is not accepted as a legal marriage. Okay? Now, juxtapose that with a country like Nigeria. In Nigeria, when you have what we call a traditional marriage ceremony, it's like an actual ceremony. So you don't do anything in court. The marriage is done between 2 families. And it's a bit different if you're from the Muslim side of Nigeria, the Christian side, where you have the different ethnic groups do their different traditional marriage, is what they call it. It's called like, I don't remember what it's called, like in Yoruba land or Ibanku and Igbo land and stuff like that. For USCIS purposes, that is considered a legal marriage. So even though you didn't do the court wedding, if you did a traditional wedding and you can provide corroborating and supporting affidavits, it will take too long for me to go through the list of the things that you can use to show that is a legal marriage. That will be considered a legal marriage. So Sid Sofe, the answer will depend on what country you're from, and I will be able to pull up the reciprocity schedule and tell you, based on your country, this is what USCIS will accept as a legal marriage. So you can call me 407-995-6567, and we can talk about it and see what's up. Jamie says, do you prepare couples for interviews without them being your clients? No. So if you're not my client, I don't prepare you for an interview because I don't have any skin in the game, and I don't know what you submitted. I don't know what's going on with your case. Now, let me put a caveat. Let me screech back. So if you're like doing just like a marriage-based case and you're just like, okay, we just need you to prepare us for an interview, there's just so many unknowns and so many variables that, generally I don't feel comfortable because there's nothing that I hate like being blindsided where you're like, oh, let's go. And you go to the interview and all those things your client didn't tell you, what was going on. Or, oh, I didn't tell you about this. Sorry, I forgot to tell you about this. Because there's no time. There's no time for me to do like a FOIA to get your information and all of that. Now, this is not the same as if you are applying for a conditional green card. If you're applying for a conditional green card and you initially started with your spouse and you're no longer doing it with your spouse based on divorce and based on abuse, in those cases, I can prepare and attend an interview with you and go over all of that with you. But if it's for a very regular marriage-based case, no, because usually there's a short window, and I need to know everything in you guys' marital history and all of that stuff before that. So you should hire me so that you don't have to worry about your interview, because all my clients actually get prepped for the interview. Okay, guys, I'm running out of time. Let me see who else I can answer. Earl says, I applied for my work permit and my green card last week. I went for biometrics, so I want to know how long to get either my green card or work permit. Earl, the answer depends on what is the basis on which you're applying for your green card. So, you can let me know that and I can just give you, an idea. Susie says, I went for a green card interview and they told me I'll get a letter in the mail in 3 weeks, but it's been 4 now and nothing yet. Susie, honestly, before you can follow up with USCIS, they will usually tell you to wait at least 6 months from your interview. Sometimes they're doing like background checks and security clearance on it. Some people, they're just super lucky. There's just nothing, to research, and they will get their approvals, in like the next day or before we even make it back to the office. And then there are also some people that, it takes them like 6 months or 7 months. I've had clients who went to an interview and their approval came like 7 months later. So, you're still within the window. 3 weeks is not really a long time to panic. Usually after 6 months, it means you're doing some more comprehensive investigation. So you just want to be mindful of that and aware of that, and be prepared for anything. But generally, USCIS will not outrightly deny you after an interview that you attended with your spouse. What will happen is they will send you a notice of intent to deny. And when they send that to you, you have the opportunity to basically respond. And basically address all the issues he potentially has. Elias says, keep on doing the good job. Thank you so much. All right, guys, I gotta go. I'm gonna come on tomorrow. Tomorrow's gonna be my last live this week, my last live this week, because I will be off on Thursday and Friday celebrating Thanksgiving with my family, and I hope you guys are doing the same. I'll be on same time, sometime between 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. Eastern. So if I didn't get your question answered and you want to ask it again, you can certainly come on tomorrow and I will try to get to it. I know you guys sometimes think I'm ignoring you, but with the platform I use, the questions are going this way. Sometimes you miss some questions. So it's not that it's intentional, but I just can't see every question. And, there's just no time to answer any question. If you do want your question answered, or if you have a personal or confidential matter that you want to discuss with me, call me. 407-995-6567. Let's talk and let's see how we can help you get your green card or your citizenship. All right, guys, I will talk to you later.